Hello, hello. This is Irene with SaugaTalks. Hello, everyone. I know you're watching SaugaTalks regularly, but I still want to encourage you to follow SaugaTalks on LinkedIn, on Twitter, watch on YouTube. You have the entire library stored on YouTube for your delight, because I cover with amazing leaders, with amazing influencers, and technical, fascinating people. I cover a broad range of topics here, all the way from artificial intelligence, automation, to Metaverse and Web3 and blockchain, and the latest series I've done on FinOps, which is finance plus DevOps for everyone who is experimenting in the cloud. And of course, a lot of AI strategists and machine learning specialists doing their experimentations there. So it all comes together here at SaugaTalks. There are playlists for you, especially by topic. So please enjoy those. Let us know, because the leaders I'm speaking with, they want to hear back. They want your engagement. They want your opinion, knowing which points resonate. What is it of interest to you, our audience? I'm so extremely privileged because Sabine VanderLinden with me. Sabine, how are you?
I'm very well, Irene. Thank you very much for having me on SaugaTalks today.
Lovely, lovely, absolutely. I know, Sabine, you and I, we've done panel with Imtiaz Adam at some point, at Insurance and Technical AI conference at some point. I loved have you as a guest of the panel. And today, again, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to discuss InsurTech trends with you. All right, because the industry is booming despite the economic landscape, despite the fact that companies are really thinking about where they're investing their bucks. They're really thinking what kind of talent is crucial for them at the moment. We hear about layoffs, and we hear about hires, and we hear about investment in startups. So let's start with technology a little bit, because it's extremely exciting space to be in. Don't you agree?
I definitely agree, Irene. Technology is the core of everything we do. If you think about the 1970s when insurance moved from paper to automation, that happened in 1970. That's when you started thinking about processes. And today, when you look at how far the industry has gone, now it's all about advanced technology. You mentioned artificial intelligence. This is core to a lot of the things we do. But we need the cloud. We need digital twins. We need all these great stuff, which helps build the businesses of tomorrow. And as you know, InsurTech enables us to do that often. And we love working with them. You highlighted that the market has been shrinking from an investment viewpoint. I always find the numbers interesting, right? 67 billion USD dollars have been invested in InsurTech so far. That represent probably 10% of what you would have in fintech. I think fintech is around 674 billion USD dollars investment over the past 10, 12 years. And this year is going to be one of the worst year in our investment years, actually. 17 billion were invested last year. It's going to be around, I think, 10 billion, 9 to 10 billion this year.
Okay, a lot to work with still, don't you think? Yes, it's not the perfect economic landscape. When is it? Okay, when was it perfect? Tell me. But yeah, this is a rhetorical question, all right? So
When
with
was
that,
perfect,
yep,
yes.
yep. I am on technology side. I'm really, really interested in understanding how technology is driving innovation. Sometimes it's not necessarily new business models. Sometimes it's just technology that offers these business models. So how is it for insurance today? What are the top trends that you're seeing?
Yes, the top trends. So I will try and split them into three because, as you said, it's not just about business model, right? Horizon 3. I think when you look at insurers today, the questions they tend to ask is, how can you help me improve my processes? This statement around the 1970, it's really about process innovation, RPAs and stuff like that, but also about product and services innovation, what you would call sustaining innovation. So where are the trends? Well, the trends which excite me personally include things which are going to impact different part of the insurance value chain. So for example, I'm doing a lot of work around embedded health. So embedded insurance linked to embedded finance. If you think about the technology world, around $42 billion have been invested in embedded finance, which include insurance and health. And what you find is the past 2 years have been hot, right? Embedded insurance has been hot, which means how do you build product and services using advanced technology, artificial intelligence being part of it, where you actually are somebody else's sales and distribution channel. So let's say I'm an insurance company, but I'm going to sell through a bank, or I'm going to sell through a retail platform. So that is sales and distribution. And what you're actually seeing is gradually digitization and digital transformation enable this to move to other part of the value chain, meaning you can have infrastructure as a service where the technology is a little bit like your iOS, right? The little apps you have on your phone where you can work with other people in the ecosystem to start building solution of the future. So that is embedded insurance. I'm fascinated by embedded health. We have a big problem around longevity. Older people, we're all getting older. There's fewer younger people, but both, need health support. And as you probably saw for the past 2 years, it's been a big revolution around understanding health from a fitness, a wellness, mental health issues, and using actually platforms to start aggregating all those different services into one. So when you start combining the health as a service, let's say the infrastructure components of the iOS I just mentioned, plus the different little apps, which may be different startups, then you start combining tech with digital ecosystem. You start building interesting propositions, which can be delivered through different distribution mechanisms. So to do that, you need the cloud, you need artificial intelligence, you need to think about maybe, in some respect, if it is not just health, it's just insurance, digital twins, you need to start around to think about the technology which comes together to start building those capabilities of the future. So that will be one aspect. And I mentioned again, embedded health, which gets us into embedded artificial intelligence, all right? Embedded intelligence, where you start using AI, very sophisticated algorithmic modeling to start reinventing the way you distribute and you serve insurance to the customer or the consumer. So when you start looking at this embedded intelligence, you need to start thinking about other issues such as ethics as well, ethical artificial intelligence, and how you make sure your products are fair to distribute. But also you need to think about the customer segments you are going after. And a lot of insurance companies today are going to, are seeking to serve the underserved, to address that protection gaps you may have heard about. So that is some example where embedded start, touching technology to start serving the customer better. And that could be for your home insurance, for your travel insurance, for your car insurance, in addition to looking at some of the big topic that is going to continue affecting us next year, such as ESG as an example.
I'm really, really interested in understanding how technology is driving innovation. Sometimes it's not necessarily new business models. Sometimes it's just technology that offers these business models. So how is it for insurance today? What are the top trends that you're seeing?
Yes, the top trends. So I will try and split them into three, because as you said, it's not just about business model, right? Horizon 3. I think when you look at insurers today, the questions they tend to ask is, how can you help me improve my processes? This statement around the 1970, it's really about process innovation, RPAs and stuff like that, but also about product and services innovation, what you would call sustaining innovation. So where are the trends? Well, the trends which excite me personally include things which are going to impact different part of the insurance value chain. So for example, I'm doing a lot of work around embedded health. So embedded insurance linked to embedded finance. If you think about the technology world, around $42 billion have been invested in embedded finance, which include insurance and health. And what you find is the past 2 years have been hot, right? Embedded insurance has been hot, which means how do you build product and services using advanced technology, artificial intelligence being part of it, you actually are somebody else's sales and distribution channel. So let's say I'm an insurance company, but I'm going to sell through a bank, or I'm going to sell through a retail platform. So that is sales and distribution. And what you're actually seeing is gradually digitization and digital transformation enable this to move to other part of the value chain, meaning you can have infrastructure as a service where the technology is a little bit like your iOS, right? The little apps you have on your phone where you can work with other people in the ecosystem to start building solution of the future. So that is embedded insurance. I'm fascinated by embedded health. We have a big problem around longevity. Older people, we're all getting older. There's fewer younger people. As you probably saw for the past 2 years, it's been a big revolution around understanding health from fitness, wellness, mental health issues, and using actually platforms to start aggregating all those different services into one.
Insurance, what about some of the adoption of this exciting trend? Because it's not an easy industry to jump on any innovation out there, all right? They are driving huge amount volume transaction. They're driving huge amount of claims alone, all right? So these are big ships. If they're a smaller company, they probably little more agile. Every decision is really high value, high impact. So how do you see industries adapting and really driving us into that shiny future?
You have a lot of, as you said, insurance companies out there. And I would say to remain relevant for the customers, many realize they have to start shifting and changing the way they do things. So partly, the change will be driven because they have to do it. I'm not going to say everybody is going to be doing it. However, the leaders, the Fortune 500s, the big ones, realize they have to jump on this digitization bandwagon to serve their customer better. Whilst, InsurTech has suffered a little bit this year, some insurers are still scared of the insurance technologist, which is entering the market and then taking market share from them. So how are they responding? I mean, many, as you would expect, will try to improve processes. They are going to use this, artificial intelligence or process automation capability to either give them the ability to analyze things better, being able to profile customers, to still provide underwriting, which is fair, to tackle and target this underserved market. So providing insurance which is affordable for the customer. But they also will have to start looking at the automation, right? Creating that seamless and friction-free processes where, from your mobile device, we are moving to the mobile internet, right? From your mobile device, you can do pretty much everything. So some of the shift will be process-driven. Some of the shift will be platform-driven, where we are going to consume products. Then when you start looking at how we make money, it's about understanding the emerging risk entering the market. So think about cyber, right? I think when we talked last, we were having this conversation. You were leading a conversation and sharing conversation around artificial intelligence and cyber security. When you start looking at the way we work and we consume today, we are all remote worker. We are digital worker. We are creators. And so we therefore are much more prone to be attacked through cyber risk. So new product and new services are going to emerge to serve the customer of the future. And insurers have to take advantage of building and being part of designing the product of the future. So I mentioned cyber. I would say a big part of this will be around sustainability, ESG, so environmental, social, and governance structures, which means we need to design products which are more akin to solving for transition risk. So moving from using fossil fuel to moving to non-fossil fuel, renewable energy, will be around urban risk, us living in cities, 60-70% of us will live in cities, whether we are old or young. So how do we make sure that the cities we are living in are healthy, are not prone to pollution, and improve, we can improve the air quality? That drives urban risk. Then, if you have bought an Apple computer or any technology over the past few months, you would see it will take forever for them to be delivered. Supply chain risk, how do you mitigate your revenue from supply chain issues due to the past few months? And the last area I think most insurers are focusing on right now is climate risk. Catastrophic losses, flooding, wildfires. You probably heard a lot of those things happening again over the course of the past few months. Those are things which need to find new products and services. So first would be process, second would be product. But then to be able to do that, we start looking at new business models. So first we have to look at circular economy to link to the ESG. So how you make your business model much more sustainable, how you can reuse and recycle and upcycle stuff. The second part will be monetization. How you actually move to a business model where you don't just take a premium once a year, you just a little bit every month to enable everybody to afford insurance in the short or longer term.
Mention few key points. Okay, I've heard creators and I've heard platforms, and that leads me to next question about creator economy. All right, so how InsurTech or insurance company will move forward with all the new opportunities with Web3 and Metaverse even? Could you cover, in your experience, what do you see happening out there?
If you remember, around the same time last year, it was around probably October, Facebook became Meta. And I think everybody said, okay, what is the thing? And it's interesting because what, that Meta stuff means is that we are moving into Web3, which is the third generation of World Wide Web, which means instead of doing HTML or using a 2D environment like we are when we are writing a blog post, for example, on Facebook, LinkedIn, whichever platform we are using, we are now going to probably start moving into a three-dimensional world, which is much more immersive. So we have to wear those little goggles. But I think it's not just about, moving into the metaverse, one of the metaverses, and start becoming creators where people can experience our product and services and our brands, right? Because, Irene, you have SaugaTalks, so therefore you are a creator. Like myself, I am a creator, and I tend to like writing on social media. It's about getting people to experience who we are in 3 dimensions. So what does that mean for insurance? First, I guess we'll need to start building insurance product for the creator economy, wherever we are. If we are living in Cancun or on the beach in Bali, we will need to be able to have transportable insurance to be able to work and consume anywhere we are. I think second is understanding whether you think about Web3 or the metaverse. Right now, there are application and use cases around us moving to this world, either to first train people. So one of the initiatives we worked on this year was for a very large international insurer, who said to us, we'd like to improve the way our young people, our Gen Z, interact with us. So we looked at how we onboard and how we train young people using the virtual world, the metaverse, and get them into an immersive environment where they can learn faster and better. But I also see board members and companies, insurance companies, which are trying to reduce their carbon footprint, now using metaverse-like environment to do their board meetings and avoid the travel cost or the carbon footprint creating from a group of executives flying into countries for board meetings. So those are 2 very simple examples. I think the one I'm much more excited by is think about companies like energy companies. Think about Engie, think about Total, think about Siemens. Those organizations are in the industrial world. And today they can replicate whether they are building or asset into through digital twins into a digital environment, right? You and I can also have our avatars, our digital self. But what that means is that now you don't rely on people being in countries to go and visit sites. You can work with anyone in the world. People in Asia, people in Africa, people in Latam can be trained to actually solve problems regardless of where they are by immersing themselves using those 3D glasses into that metaverse environment. And now you are allowing the democratization of wealth and the democratization of skill by using those environments to enable people to repair things like your Genius Bar, regardless of where they are. And I think that's where we are going to start using Web3 and Metaverse environment to enable business to be much more successful. Now, I know the NFT world is a little bit weird at the moment, but then to pay for the service, you can pay them with digital currencies. And so then you end up building a third world where you don't have physical money. You can actually recruit anybody anywhere in the world, and you can solve problems really fast, regardless of what problem that is, technological problem that is, right, in countries. And I think that's where people need to start realizing that this metaverse, creator economy, and Web3 could actually lead to interesting new worlds.
And I hear a lot about, immersive technologies helping maybe in the future. I don't know how well, again, companies adapting right now. Hopefully the technology will be adapted faster. So how realistic this is, you think? Because I see,
yeah. Look at Lloyd's of London. I mean, if you look at some of the insurers onto the Lloyd's of London market, what you would see is that some already are using, virtual reality glasses, right? They are also already using, I would say, Oculus, just to think about the brand, to enable their investigators and claims manager to repair or to evaluate risk from afar, from their home, literally from their home office. So this is already reality for complex and very expensive risk. Think about going into the North Sea on a platform and needed to repair some, and so there's still oil being drilled, right? And looking at what risk we are dealing with, or going onto a ship onto the sea. So I mean, some of those insurers already are using virtual reality environments and glasses to assess the risk right now and provide faster, quicker, probably cheaper way to reimburse and settle claims much faster.
Sabine, I want you to comment on multiple roles that you're covering, all right? So you're a technology leader, you're industry leader, the InsurTech Queen, wonderful, fabulous, and you're teaching as well, right? At the business school? At the business
Correct.
school? How do you see, the new generation of business and technology leaders stepping into the world we're in? And what do you think will help, younger professionals to kind of, get comfortable in the working world today, because we know the challenges that they're facing?
So yes, I teach an executive program for one of the European business school. So I do only one class, which is around InsurTech, FinTech Disruption. And those, I would say those students, they are MBAs, right? They're executive MBAs. So they come for the weekend. So it's, very talented and very sophisticated people. So they want to deal with people who are doing practical things where they can actually interact and ask real questions. So it's a lot of fun to do that. Where the world is going, I think when I look at the younger generation, I've quite a few in my team actually. I think sometimes I need to tell them, please, being realistic. I mean, a lot of them wants to move very, very fast. But at the same time, we need to be cognizant as business leaders that they have access to all the information they need at the tip of their fingers, right? Whether they want to solve a problem, they go into, usually if they want to solve a problem, they go onto YouTube. And they use a lot of, their mobile devices to do anything. And so because of that urge and that ability to learn really fast, they also want to move fast. What I would say is experience is helpful. It's great to be able to do the job fast, but experience is useful because through experience, you can actually learn the ups and downs of solving problems and very complex problems. At the same time, I think as business leader, we need to also understand the way they want to work. And I've had a number of situations where I've been talking to established market players who have had a lot of difficulty to recruit talent. I'm sure you know the stat, right? 45 million Americans have literally resigned from amazing jobs in the United States to either have a portfolio careers or build their own businesses. In the UK, it's around, at the moment, I think the first quarter of 2022, it was 250,000 people. I know a smaller number, but still in the UK, that's a lot of people. And when you look at us at digital nomads today, I think we are around 15 to 16 million digital nomads, which is going to become 1 billion in 2035. So the way we work is changing, and young people want us to be cognizant in the way they want to work, which is remote or hybrid. And so what I've seen with those established businesses I've talked to, some are very intransigent in the way they want to work and the way they want their people to be in the office. And I don't know whether things are going to change in next year, but therefore they are finding it very difficult to recruit talent. So I would say to young talent, do what you want to do. Be clear when you start around, why maybe you want to be remote or hybrid. Explain it to potential recruiter, but be clear around your vision and your passions. But also make sure not to be too much in a hurry, because experience comes with years. Some people can jump some hoops, but being able to understand how the job is done is very important to be successful in the future. We are living in a world which is changing faster that you can process, right? So we need to be able to have all the generation, and you have 5 generations of people into work today. And I think we need to find the best way to find people with skills, people with want to learn, hungry to learn, but also provide the right environment, purpose, and culture to allow everybody to prosper. But I think, we'll see more people making choices around what is important for them, whether they want to work for a corporation, join a startups, or do it on their own. And I see more and more people doing and going for portfolio careers. So one thing I also want to, if you don't mind me saying, I want to say to established businesses, be mindful that the way you work, when you want people to be full-time and working for you for full-time, is not going to be any more relevant, or the way people want to work. Young people want hobbies, they want gigs. And I've seen great companies now accepting people to have, as long as it's not conflicting with their existing role, to accept gigs. Whether you want to drive an Uber during the weekend or actually volunteer to teach like I do at one of the schools, I see more and more businesses accepting that, because they realize that makes their employees much more whole and happy.
Absolutely. I see more and more Gen Zs, forget about Gen Alpha, okay, and forward, they need that flexibility. They cannot picture themselves being tied to corporate job. I mean, we can talk about it on and on. So corporations do need to loosen a little bit their principles, their practices, because otherwise, it will be tougher in the future. So amazing world, right? We have all the flexibility in our choices, in our personal choices. We have to have that flexibility, at the workplace, don't you think?
Absolutely. We need that flexibility. We need to find as well different ways of communicating. I mean, you are technology savvy, I'm technology savvy. We are using platforms such as Slack to communicate, which has become, even, in startup world, everybody use Slack, and I think established company is just starting to understand the value of Slack actually as a platform. Being able to understand the value of technology to enhance work, but also to fit into a younger generation style of working is going to be important. And then finding ways to, if you don't mind me saying as well, to install the coffee cooler chat, even though we work remote, you are in country, I'm in another country, is going to be important as well. So the whole working practice, remote working and working practice needs to change. And new tools, new techniques, new engagement needs to be developed as a result to fulfill the need of that Gen Z. And, we are not yet talking about Gen Alpha.
Those are different planets. We love them. We raised them, so we know a little bit about them. But fun part is really going along with them, understanding that what will make them driving the next innovation, the next startup, right? The next new invention that we all gonna enjoy as a customers, or maybe if we're invited, right, being part of that journey. So this is amazing.
Absolutely.
This is amazing. Speaking of remote work, just one last remark, and I hope you agree with me or not. Please jump in, right? So to me, remote work was extremely helpful in my career. I loved it. Loved it. Being, interacting with people all across the globe. All right, this is priceless. Okay, so I never ever, will say that, hey, everybody back to the office. It helps team building and all that. At the same time, you mentioned exciting, amazing technology. Again, maybe Metaverse will help younger people with that social aspect. Because we are social animals in the room when we're brainstorming, when we're creating, when we're doing, the job we're assigned to. So point is that there gotta be good solution, saving on commute, not wasting your dollars on gas and even electric, but still out there, right?
Absolutely.
So there gotta be this balance. What do you think?
Absolutely. I like you, because I've worked in strategic role for, when I was working for corporates most of my career, and I've been, globetrotter, because some of the clients I was working with were in different markets in different countries. Remote working, if we use the word for what it means, is working, from somewhere else rather than just from home. Yeah, 25 years of my life has been remote. But I think also to be able to connect with the people which we are close to, the technology needs to be used as efficiently as possible. So that means even, I mentioned Slack, but all those devices and all those tools we use need to be completely integrated. So, whether you are doing whiteboarding, whether, you are, sending emails, whether you are actually communicating, and then, engaging. I mean, I think that metaverse environment, for meetings, for sure, is great, because you feel like you are beside your colleague. You actually feel when they are talking to you, whether it's on left, on right side, whether they are literally, the whole environment is built to actually make you immersed in those engagements. So I do believe that is going to be an add-on. We just need to have better glasses, because right now they are very tiring on the eye.
Yep. So those innovators out there, we rely on you. All right. We rely for technology to evolve, to become better and easier to use, and probably more affordable. So, Sabine, thank you so very much. Time is flying. I love this conversation. So in conclusion, would you summarize a few takeaways to send our audience with, in a way that we talk about technology trends, we talk about the challenges industry is facing, and at the same time, what are the new talent, what are new careers will be developing in front of our eyes, and new platforms. So few takeaways maybe for this talk. Thank you.
So the 3 takeaways would be, I think the product and services of tomorrow have not been built, right? We are moving into a world we don't even comprehend. So a lot of emerging risk, at least in insurance, will occur, but a lot of emerging things will emerge, which means to solve the problem of tomorrow, one needs to think as an ecosystem builder. You need to think about collaborating with others. You cannot do it on your own. And when I talked about embedded health, embedded insurance, embedded finance, when you look at where this is going, it's not just about selling and distributing things through somebody else's channel. It's about building new platforms, leveraging the top of the range technology, but also doing this with others by building digital ecosystems. Now, we need to also understand the way Gen Z and Gen A think, because they wake up in the morning with their mobile phone in their hands. And so what I find fascinating about this generation is things which is very natural for them. It's a generation which is highly emotional. They love, they giggle, they cry. They don't have problem doing that on social media. And so the ability to look at technology and use that technology in new ways is beyond our comprehension, us, the Gen X. So be mindful that the product and services of tomorrow are not designed. And what I would say to the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha is, appreciate, there are big companies out there who want to do great things for good. And I admire you all to want to become entrepreneurs, but maybe get some skills as well from the big companies before you go and build your businesses, because those skill sets are absolutely invaluable. I worked for a corporation for, 18, 19 years before I decided to do my own things. I don't know whether it was the same for you, Irene, but that is invaluable skills. We know how to build businesses. We know how to do marketing. We know how to deliver information. We can do any jobs, right? And so that is the gift we can give as well to others.
Sabine, thank you so very much. Just to top it off a little bit. Yes, I spent 20 years, okay, in corporate environment. And again, things, I know the strengths of that world. I know the weaknesses, all right? I'm on my own right now. It's absolutely true. When I meet people right now to be my guest and for other engagements, all right, it's so easy to click with those who kind of, raised in the same professional ethics, professional attitude. It makes life simpler. You don't need to explain anything. Okay, people click, people understand. All right, so I definitely appreciate all the years. Again, I advise everyone, just like what you said. Okay, for younger generations, try for year 2, 3, 5, see what it's about, have your ideas, have them done. If you have entrepreneur in you, please go on and do your thing. But you have to know how the large companies with large resources and large talent work. It will only help you with your networking, with your fundraising, even with everything you do later on. So Sabine,
Absolutely.
Thank you so very much for your wisdom today. I appreciate this talk. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on SaugaTalks, Irene. Thank you.